We know that there is a huge gap between what we intend to do and what we actually do. We know there's a lot of reasons for that. We've talked about a lot of them in the preceding videos. We know what to do, know what needs to get done, haven't done it. Why? ADHD. Okay, our brains, the gap between here's what we intend to do, here's what we actually do. So if you think of it in terms of a picture, and I've got some pictures here, some little cartoon thingies. Here's what we want to do, and here's what actually doing it looks like. And there's, if you picture it like this big chasm, this big drop in between. So we need to have something that bridges this gap. There's a big gap. What does it is motivation. But ADHD brains don't have the same motivation in our brain for certain things. The things usually that are the most important. Things like, this is good for my career. This will make money. This is good for my family. My family needs this. I told people that I would, or so-and-so's expecting me to. That provides motivation. It's things like that. For what each of us, it's different for each task. But one of those things usually is sort of like makes you go, okay, I can do it though. But Dr. Russell Barkley, who I've mentioned before, he calls it motivation deficit disorder, which I love. I've talked about how attention deficit is not even accurate, that it's a deficit in or regulating our attention. We have a deficit in what regular brains can go, well, I don't want to do it, but I did it anyway. Why can't you just do it? Okay. Even when we want to do it badly, people think that it's just not doing what we don't want to do, and that's another reason people think maybe it's an excuse. Like, I can't see this huge gap you have in your motivational bridge. Can't see it. It's missing planks, a lot of planks. Let me show this picture. She's got this little brain. And here's a neurotypical's bridge. They have some gaps. They have stuff that bores them or they're not motivated to do or whatever. But they can still jump across those. They're little skips. They can go boop. Ours has it, and there's huge gaps, like half the bridge in some cases. So it's not a matter of willpower. It's not a matter of discipline when half your bridge is missing. The neurotypical brain, so our loved ones and friends and people are like, why can't you just go over the gaps? Why can't you just go over them? But what we know is there are a few things that are typically cause the bigger gap. Things that are lengthy and repetitive or boring. We do know, so what can help us to put some planks back in the motivation bridge? Besides drugs, which I've talked about already, I won't repeat that. Make it urgent. Things that are urgent are fill in the planks, and things that are new, novel, like, oh, stuff that motivates you, that's really interesting and different and novel. It's not a choice. Our brains need the motivation and they don't have it. It's just how they work. I just want to say that again. That's what we've heard maybe most of our lives. Choosing to need that much motivation, just do it. And it's not a choice. Okay, so how can we fix it? There are some ways. We can make it urgent. And this is where the mind-blowing thing comes in. So when it's urgent, our brains are firing like they need to, and it's filling in those gaps. But so the problem, at least that I have, well, it's not urgent. If someone has paid me for something and I haven't given it to them, that's urgent. A lot of you, just like me, we stay up too late maybe, but because the later it gets, the less time I sort of have to finish tasks, I'm like, well, why couldn't I do this at 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Why am I waiting till now? It's 1 a.m. Well, I'll tell you why, because now it's urgent. Now my brain's like, hey, we need to get to bed, so let's hurry. But until it's urgent, our brains do not fire. So if we can make it urgent, way to make it urgent is accountability. That's where having someone, I'm gonna text a friend and say, I wanna do this and have this one little task done in an hour, in the next hour, but I know I'm not gonna do it. Will you make me do it? Sort of make, you know what I mean? Let someone be the boss of you for a task. For me, it helps a lot. If I know a friend's gonna go, she's gonna ask in an hour, and I wanna be able to say, yep, I did it. Not, I didn't do it. So accountability is great. Another one is what we've talked about already. This is overlapping. Break it into smaller tasks and then ask someone to check on you for just that little task. So you can't make a whole project urgent, but for decluttering something, I could say, you know what? What's one thing, a small thing? Because I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Magic of just do the tiniest possible thing in it. Tiniest possible thing. And it does wonders for your brain. I don't understand why, but it does. Just knowing, oh, but I did that. I want to clean my desk off, but I'm like, oh, I haven't, I won't, I can't, I want to, I can. Note if I put all the acrylic paint in their thingy, take 5 seconds. If I text a friend and say, I need to put all my acrylic tubes in the little cart, say that hold me accountable within an hour, whatever, that can help make it urgent. Then that little part is urgent of the project. Does that make sense? You guys are creative. If you put all your creative juices into figuring out how can I make it urgent? What's something that will not trick you but motivate you? So if I want to get something clean, if you want to, what you can do is invite someone over. So even if you don't want to do that, but you see how that will, then it becomes urgent. Like, I got to pick up. If it looks visible to the eye that like, hey, it doesn't look very cluttered, it's clean, it fills in the blanks when it's urgent for us. I haven't said the mind-blowing thing yet, at least it is to me. But get this, that's why we procrastinate. It's not just like, well, we just don't feel like doing the thing. It's boring or it's hard, whatever, that makes sense. But literally, your brain knows that you need it to be urgent to get it all firing in the right way. And so if you put it off and you wait until the very last second, then you can do it. Literally, it's doing that unconsciously. We don't choose to. We don't go, I'm going to wait till the last minute because then I can do it. We all say, oh my gosh, why am I waiting till the last minute? Why? That's why. Am I yelling? Because you need it to be urgent. And so your brain is like, I know what happens. We'll wait until she literally is about to leave. Now it's got to be done, and now I'm going to do it. But the result is we do it stressed and anxious. We have to find ways to make it feel urgent. And so I have two that usually, if they're helpful for me, I know they'll be helpful for you guys. Timers are another way that we can make it urgent. I want to finish this thing. I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to have it done in 10 minutes. That makes its own motivation because how good you feel when it's done. It does me. I've discovered over the years, like anxiety, almost completely nowadays, it's from not getting things done. And when I finish something, I'm like, oh, now I feel peaceful again. Why? Because I finally did the freaking thing. So it's like preventable anxiety. The third one, the other way you can make it urgent is to actually think about it and go, oh, it is urgent. We tend to think, I always do, like it's not urgent, meaning like no one's coming over to get it right now or whatever. You know what urgent is for you. It's got to happen. It's got to happen right now. If we look at it like, let's see why it is urgent. Make your brain know it's urgent. It's urgent because it's not letting yourself down. You know what? Because I always go, I don't have to do it yet. I still got 2 hours. Well, I'm working on saying, you know what? If I would tell myself, no, it is urgent, because how are you going to feel? How stressed and anxious will you be when you're late? So for your own good, it is urgent. I don't know, you guys, that may do nothing for you, but yeah, okay, so it's not really urgent. No one's going to die. But if I get it done, imagining how I feel about it, which is great and relieved and not anxious. Think about how the stress it will cause later when you have to go, yep, I didn't do it again. And I hope that's helpful. Oh, and I have one more. Okay. Instead of the voice that says, well, just doing a small part isn't getting it done, ignore that. Say, voice, shut up, because just doing a tiny little part, for whatever reason, it lights up your brain. Thinking about it, like, I finished it. It's like that work begun, half done kind of old expression. That once you start, it feels like it's half done. Just starting it feels like half done. The other thing is to help with make that motivation bridge. She called it Ride the Wave. This is also Jessica from How to ADHD. There's something that you're doing and you actually really want to do it. You have your brain is cooperating and you really do want to get it done. Ride that wave as far as you can towards getting it done. Don't go, well, but I really should be doing this other thing when we don't have to fight against our own brains. Obviously, that's a good thing. I just lost all my words again. We're looking for ways that we don't have to have so much motivation because we don't have it in our brains naturally. It's not there. The planks are missing, but there's ways we can do it. So I hope some of those are helpful. I hope that you guys will let me know. This person's like, okay, it's important. I'm going to do it anyway. And we're like back here, like, I can't get across the bridge.